الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب صدق الله العظيم. In a town called Iran, there was a very, very wealthy Turkish businessman. And Allah Ta'ala had blessed him very, very greatly. He had orchards of pomegranates, apples, grapes, and he had a lot of homes and mansions as well. And in terms of wealth, Allah Ta'ala had given him a lot of wealth. So in every way of dunya, Allah Ta'ala had blessed this Turkish businessman. And people used to envy him that Allah Ta'ala has given him so much of wealth. And this is the reality. That today when we see a person, he's got a very good home, a very good business, flourishing business, he's driving a good car, then automatically we start envying, a person starts thinking that this person is sorted out in life. Everything is going well for him in life. But those that Allah Ta'ala has given them dunya, they also have their problems in life. What is their problem? That they know and Allah Ta'ala knows. But they also have their challenges in life. And sometimes the more Allah Ta'ala gives a person, the greater the challenge as well. Last week, I wasn't feeling too well, so I was talking to one doctor. So I told the doctor that I'm feeling very sleepy. So he says, besides that, you're okay. I said, no, alhamdulillah, like that is fine, but I'm feeling very sleepy. So he told me, he says that make shukr to Allah Ta'ala, that you can get sleep without spending any money. You don't have to take any tablets. He said, so many people that I see, they can't get sleep also. That is the difficulty that they're going through. Sometimes a person, he builds the best of homes, 5-star home. But in that home, he's got problems with his wife. In that home, he's got no comfort in that own home of his. So this businessman also had his challenge. And what was his challenge? In our terms, we'd say it was a straightforward challenge. He had a daughter. And his daughter had come of marriageable age. So he wanted to get his daughter married. She was a very beautiful young girl, very talented, very intelligent. And in terms of deen also, Allah Ta'ala had blessed this girl. And many proposals also were coming for her. Wealthy boys had brought proposals for her. People from honorable, respectable families, they came and they proposed for the girl. But the father's heart did not incline. And that was the time where the father would choose that who is going to be the groom, who is going to be my son-in-law, who is going to marry my daughter. So his heart didn't incline. So because of this, the father was very, very restless all the time. So one day it so happened that he went to one of his farms. And by chance he came to this particular farm, and the worker that was on this farm, his name was Mubarak. So this Mubarak, he was working on the fields. He saw that the owner came, so immediately he stopped his work and he came to the boss. So they started talking to one another. So as they were talking to one another, the boss, he told the worker, he says, go and get me one pomegranate. So he went, he broke one pomegranate and he came and he gave it to the owner. So the owner, he opened the pomegranate and he ate from the pomegranate. When he ate from there, he found that it was bitter, it was sour, it wasn't a sweet pomegranate. So he got very angry, he got very upset. He said, so many years you working for me here, but you don't even know where to get a sweet pomegranate from also. That you brought a pomegranate that is little bitter, that is sour, that I can't even eat the pomegranate. So what did he say? He said that I was employed to look after the farm. I was not employed here to taste the fruit that is on the tree. That was not my job. That was amanat from the side of Allah Ta'ala. So when the boss, he heard this, he was truly amazed by this answer. He was impressed by him that this is such an honest person, such a trustworthy person. So nevertheless, Allah Ta'ala put it in the heart of the owner. So he told Mubarak, he said that my desire is that now you come and stay with me. I want to sit in your company. I want to benefit from your company. and get somebody else, employ somebody else to work on the farm, to take care of the farm, but you stay with me. So this appealed to Mubarak, so Mubarak agreed. So he went to stay now with his boss. When he went to stay with him, every day the boss would sit with him, he would listen to his advisors, he would benefit from him, and in this way they carried on. One day it so happened that the owner now, the Turkish merchant, he was sitting one day very, very sad, very, very depressed, with his head lowered. So Mubarak, he realized there's something wrong over here. So Mubarak went to him and he told him that, what's the problem? Why are you sitting so worried? Why are you sitting so depressed? So perhaps this was the occasion that he was waiting for. So he said that this is the problem that I have. I have a daughter and she has come of marriageable age. And many, many proposals have come for my daughter as well. Wealthy people have also come. Respectable, honorable families have also come. But my heart is not inclining to any one of them. So Mubarak said that this is the concern of every father. That when a father has a daughter, he wants a good home for his daughter. That she must settle down nicely. And if you get a good son-in-law, then what to say about that? That's so to say you got Jannat in this dunya. And if he's not a good person, he turns out to be a difficult person, then so difficult to deal with those matters also. So he gave him this advice. So then the owner, he asked Mubarak, he said, what should I do in this situation? So he said that the solution to the problem is just follow the sunnah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. If you follow the sunnah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, whatever problem you have in your life, you will come out of that problem if you follow the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Which as Rakim Saheb rahmatullahi alayhi says, agar sunnat nabawi ki pervi karegi ummat. If the ummat only has to follow the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, tufan se nikal jayega fir inka safina. Then the ship will come out from the storms that we are going through, the ummah that is going through storms. These storms we will come out of just by following the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So then he asked Mubarak, he says, in the light of hadith, tell me what should I do? So then he gave him another advice. And another piece of advice, what did he say? He said that any person that went against the sunnah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, that person was humiliated and that person was disgraced. Which Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala says, Inna kunna adallan nas, that we were humiliated people, we were disgraced people. Fa'azzana Allahu bil Islam. Allah ta'ala gave us izzat through Islam. When Islam came to us, then we became respectable people, we became honorable people in the world. فَمَهْمَا نَطْلُبُ الْعِزَّةِ بِغَيْرِ الْإِسْلَامِ أَذَلَّنَ اللَّهِ. Wherever we will seek izzat in other than Islam, in the ways of the West, or whether it is in the ways of the kuffar, Allah ta'ala will humiliate us, Allah ta'ala will disgrace us once again. So then he said, tell me what to do, O Mubarak. So Mubarak told him, he said that, see, when a Jewish person, he wants to get his daughter married, then the Jewish person, he looks at wealth. If that boy has got wealth, he will give his daughter in that home, because there's wealth over there. So the Jew, this is what he looks for wealth. When it comes to a Christian person, the Christian person, he looks for beauty. If the boy is a handsome boy, attractive boy, I will give my daughter over here, because his intention, his maqsad is beauty. And he says, for a mu'min, for a believer, what do we look for? We look for virtue. We look for taqwa. We look for piety. Which Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned, tunkahul mar'atu li arba'in. That a woman gets married to for 4 reasons. Why? Bimaliha. Either you get married for her wealth. Wali jamaliha. Or a person, he gets married for the beauty of that woman. Wali hasabiha. Or he gets married because of the family status of that woman. And the 4th reason Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, wali diniha. That a person, he gets married for deen. And then Nabi alayhi salam gives his piece of advice. And he said, fadfar bi dhati deen. That woman that has got deen in her life becomes successful with that woman. If deen is there, that is the criteria. If you get the others, that is a bonus. But look for deen, look for taqwa, look for piety, and you will be happy. So when he said this, that the owner, the Turkish merchant, he became very, very happy. And he said, you have solved my problem. Whatever problem I have, you have solved the entire problem. And saying this, he went away. So he went home and he told his wife, he said that I've already spoken to Mubarak. And this is the advice that Mubarak has given me. So she said, he's a very, very intelligent man, a very, very wise man. She praised Mubarak. So when she praised Mubarak, he went to the next stage. What did he say? He said, then in that case, why don't we give our daughter to Mubarak? So she said that, he's a servant of the house. What are people going to say? We gave our daughter to a servant. So I can't do that. So the husband was intelligent. So he told her, he said, see, in the entire Hiran area, I haven't found any person that's got more taqwa than Mubarak. I haven't found any person that is more amanatdar and more honest than Mubarak. These qualities Allah Ta'ala has blessed Mubarak with. And in terms of wisdom also, he's a very, very wise man. And the sunnah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam is to look for taqwa. The sunnah of Nabi alayhi salam is to look for piety. This is the occasion we should follow the sunnah of Nabi alayhi salam. And if we choose any other way, we will be going against the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So the wife understood, immediately she accepted. She said, no problem, get our daughter married to Mubarak. So Allah Ta'ala made it such that they both got married. When they got married, they were living very, very happily. She was also a very righteous girl, a very, very pious girl. So after some time, Allah Ta'ala gave them a child. And this child they named Abdullah. That is where we get Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah alayhi. So Allah Ta'ala blessed them with a child by the name of Abdullah. And this child later on in life, there's some history, we're coming to it inshallah. This child later on in life, he became the Imam of the East and the Imam of the West. When it came to Hadith, he was a great, great scholar of Hadith. People from throughout the world came and benefited from Hazrat Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah alayhi. And how Allah Ta'ala elevated the status of Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah alayhi. But after some time, after this child was born, after some time, the Turkish merchant, the Mubarak's father-in-law now. So Mubarak's father-in-law passed away. So he was very wealthy, so he left a huge estate. And that he had allotted a huge portion of it for Mubarak, that this must go to my son-in-law, Mubarak. So Mubarak got this money. What did he do with the money? We think of investment, we think of this, we think of that. The money that he got from his father-in-law, this money was used for the education of Mubarak, Islamic education. He gave his son Dini education. And he wanted Islamic morals, Islamic values to be instilled within this child. And where was he from? He was actually from Marwa. That's why Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah alayhi, he is known as Marwazi. Now Marwa is actually close to Khurasan. And Khurasan, this particular area, Marwa, which is on the Khurasan side, it is mentioned at one stage, great Sufis, great pious personalities, they hail from this area. Many scholars, they came from Khurasan. Hanafi fiqh to a great extent had come from the Khurasan area. And eventually that the army of Imam Mahdi, they will come from Khurasan. So this was regarded as a very pious area, the area of Khurasan. But Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah alayhi, when he grew up, this is where we should take great lesson from. Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah had a lot of friends. As a young boy, he had a lot of friends. And he got hooked up with his friends as well. So they used to be playing out till late in the night. During the day also he is sleeping. Then Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah alayhi, he adopted some bad habits also. And then he used to listen to music. Then came the time when he was playing musical instruments. And then came the time when Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah alayhi, he was drinking alcohol as well. So our children, our youth that we have today, many of them, some of them have gone a little off the track also. So we don't write anybody off. We don't say there's no hope for this boy, kick him out of the house. No. Watch how Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah, his father, Mubarak, and his mother, every day they would make dua for him. Every day they would perform salah, make dua. They would take out sadaqah, they would give sadaqah. And they never left Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah, never left him, always with Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah. But when Allah Ta'ala wants to pull, when the dua of the parents is accepted, and sometimes when the child also is sincere and he wants to give up that gunas, many people when they write to us, they say we want to give up our gunas, we want to give up this life that we are living, we want to get closer to Allah Ta'ala. You genuine and make a little bit of effort, you will reach your destination, you will reach Allah Ta'ala. So this young boy also, one day he was with all his friends, and according to one narration it comes that they had a beautiful orchard, and it was an apple orchard. So it was a fruit bearing season, and all his friends all seated in the orchard, they are drinking, they are playing musical instruments, and they are having a good time, merrymaking. And it so happened that Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah fell off to sleep. When Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah fell off to sleep, Allah Ta'ala wanted to pull him. So Allah Ta'ala showed him a dream. And what does he see in that dream? In the dream he sees that the Quran Sharif is open in front of him. And there is a bird that is sitting on the tree. And the bird is reading Quran Sharif. So Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah, when he saw this dream, this pulled him. What did the bird read? Alam ya'ni lilladhina amanu an takhsha'a qulubuhum li dhikrillah. Has the time not come that your heart humbles itself for the dhikr of Allah? Has the time not come that you give up all this wrong of yours, all this evil of yours? Now obey Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, fulfill the commands of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. So Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah, when he woke up, this is according to one narration, there are other narrations also. So Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah woke up. When he woke up, he broke all those bottles. He broke all those musical instruments that he had. See, we can never write anyone off. We don't know at which stage in their life they will make their change. Mufti Shafi Saheb rahmatullahi used to say that he was a senior alim of his time. But when many a times his juniors, perhaps his students also, they would be giving bayan. Mufti Shafi Saheb rahmatullahi will be passing by. And whilst he is passing by, he will just go and sit down there and he will listen to that bayan. And after a little while, he was so busy, he didn't have the time. But after a little while, he would wake up and then Mufti Shafi Saheb rahmatullahi used to go away. Then he used to explain. He said that why did I come and sit in that bayan just for those few minutes? He said two reasons. He said the one reason is this. He said Allah Ta'ala's system is such that many a times Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, what He doesn't even put in the mind of the seniors, sometimes the junior, Allah opens his heart and the junior starts speaking things that the senior didn't even think of. And the second thing is, he says that many a times it happens that you listen to a certain point. Many a time in our deen, there's nothing new. Same Quran, we're reading 1400 years, we're still reading the same Quran. Same namaz from the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we're reading today also. Same roza we're keeping today also. Same hajj, the same rituals of hajj we are following today also. So there's nothing new in deen. This deen will continue right until the day of Qiyamah. So many a time repetition, Fazail Amal, we read again and again. We say, no, we heard the same stories again and again. But did we actually make amal on those stories? Did we actually make amal on the advices that are there? So nevertheless, here also Abdullah bin so Mufti Shafi Saheb rahmatullahi used to say that sometimes a speaker might mention the same point, but that is the time when Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala wants to now pull that person. And that becomes the changing point in the life of a person. So Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi also, he changed his life. One verse of the Quran, he changed his life. He took a bath. He made tawbah to Allah Ta'ala. And those gunas that were involved in, never did Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi ever go back to that life again. It is mentioned after he gave up this life, one day his father came to him. He was very, very wealthy. So he gave him 50,000 dirhams, 50,000 silver coins. He gives Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. And he tells his son Abdullah, he says, go and invest this money. Go and do some business. Invest this money that I'm giving you. So he took the 50,000 dirhams and immediately he set out. He started traveling. Where did he go? The same boy that was wasting his whole day, that same boy that was drinking the entire day, that was playing musical instrument, now he undertakes a journey to all the scholars of that time. In those days, we didn't have the Darul system where you go to one madrasa, there's 20, 30 ustads that are there and you benefit from them. In order for a person to benefit, he had to travel extensively, go to one ustad, then go to another ustad, then go to another ustad, and stay with each one, and then you benefit from them. So he took this money and he undertook this journey. He went to various ulama of hadith, and then finally he came back to Marwa. When he came back to Marwa, the father heard that my son has arrived. So immediately he came to meet Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. When he came to meet Abdullah bin Mubarak, he said, oh my son, how have you profited? How did you do? How did the business go? Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi said, oh my father, that I am so grateful to you. I make so much of shukr to you. This is also another quality that has gone out of our life. That people that do so much, parents do so much for the children. Do children ever say shukr, say jazakallah to them? Learn to say jazakallah, appreciate whatever other people do for us. Nevertheless, he said that jazakallah, I really appreciate what you have done for me. He said when people invest in dunya, the returns that they get is only up to the point of dunya. When a person passes away, there's no returns now any longer. He says, but the investment that I have invested in, the returns I'll get in dunya also, and the returns I'll get in akhirat also. So the father said, what investment? He pointed out to all those kitabs that he had brought. And perhaps in those days it was handwritten kitabs. So he said that this is the investment of the akhirah. That I had gone and had acquired knowledge. It is mentioned, Mubarak, the father of Abdullah, he became so happy that what was the condition of his son at one time, and what is the condition of the son today. And he started crying. He stood up, he embraced Hazrat Abdullah, he embraced him, and he said, oh my son, come with me, come with me. He took him home. He said, here, take another 30,000 dirhams I'm giving you. And these 30,000 dirhams, perhaps your business is still not completed. Go and complete that business that is not finished as yet. And this is how Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi went out to acquire knowledge. Amongst his students later, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi, the Imam of the Hanbali Mazhab, he was a student of Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. And many others were the students of Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi says that nobody had traveled more than Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi in his time to go and acquire knowledge. It is mentioned he had 4,000. He traveled so much, he had 4,000 ustads. Somebody perhaps they got 20 ustads, 30 ustads, 40 ustads. You never hear of 100 ustads and 200 ustads. But here was a man that had 4,000 ustads. Somebody asked him that, oh Abdullah bin Mubarak, up to what stage? You're going to travel like this. Up to what stage are you going to acquire knowledge? He said, till the day I pass away, I will acquire knowledge. It is mentioned that he used to sit whole day at home. So somebody told him, you don't get bored. You sit at home whole day. He says, how can I get bored? I'm in the company of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm in the company of Sahaba. And Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu, qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hadith, name of Sahabi, name of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm in the company of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm in the company of Sahaba. How can I ever get bored with this? It is mentioned one day the Isha namaz had terminated and he was coming out of the masjid after Isha salah. As he is coming out of the masjid, Ali bin Hassan rahimahullah, very very great imam of his time, he asked him a question in regards to hadith. Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi started answering. It's mentioned that the whole night he just answered just this one question of hadith. And the next thing the Fajr Azan was called. And he's coming for Fajr namaz. Whole night, such knowledge Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala had blessed him. So in our deen, nobody is a writer. Have hope on our children. Make an effort on our children. Muhammad Hamid Saheb always says, he says, I see a very, very bright future. Perhaps we cannot understand it. I also perhaps cannot understand it. But many a time he says, I see a very, very bright future. That I see the youngsters of today, they are progressing. It's not like how it was in the past. These youngsters are gone very, very far. So every child has great potential. Work on him. Parents make dua for them. Whether he's a druggie, whatever is his condition, don't give up on our children. When Allah Ta'ala elevated Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi, on one occasion he was invited in a place called Ruqa. And in this place, Ruqa, Harun al-Rashid, the king of the time, he had his palace over here as well. So when he went to Ruqa, the people were waiting for Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi, preparing. There was so much of hustle and bustle. So one girl that was working in the palace of Harun al-Rashid, so from the top she looks and she says, what's all this movement that is going on? What is happening here? So she asked somebody, she says, what is happening? So they said, don't you know Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi is coming? And they're all preparing for Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. They just want a glimpse of Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. At that time she commented. What did she say? She said, Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid really is not the king. He forces people to come to the kingdom. Here people are dying to see Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. When we give our lives to Allah Ta'ala, for the knowledge of deen, but for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, not for people and to show people, for the pleasure of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, how Allah Ta'ala will elevate him. Imam Malik rahmatullahi was the great imam of Madinatul Munawwara. Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi says, I benefited very greatly from two people. He said one was Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi. And the second person he said I benefited from was Sufyan Thawri rahmatullahi. But when Imam Saheb rahmatullahi passed away, then he went to Imam Malik rahmatullahi. So one day he came to Imam Malik rahmatullahi, and Imam Malik rahmatullahi was sitting in Madinatul Munawwara, in the Haram of Madinah Sharif. He gave dars in the Haram of Madinah Sharif. So Imam Malik rahmatullahi stood up. So the students were amazed that Imam Malik rahmatullahi never stand up for anybody ever. When people would come, they would come down to Imam Malik rahmatullahi. So first he stood up, he embraced Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. And where his seat of teaching was, he told Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi, you sit here, and he sat next to him. So the student, this questioning mind that they had, that why, how is it that who is this man that so much of respect and honor? So Imam Malik rahmatullahi understood. At that time what he said this is the great faqih of Khurasan, the great jurist of Khurasan, Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. Imam Malik rahmatullahi stood up for. So when a person, he just channels his energy in the correct direction, where to where won't a person reach? A person wants to become the beloved of Allah. He is the worst of, and perhaps nobody wants to even have anything to do with him. But he channeled his energies in the right direction, he'll become the beloved of Allah Ta'ala. And how many saints, they have a history. And every sinner, he has a future. You don't know where you'll reach. If you just channel your energy in the right direction, you will also reach Allah Ta'ala. But the ulama have written, Imam Ahmad rahmatullahi also mentioned, he said whatever Allah Ta'ala gave Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi, it was because of the taqwa that he had. That on one occasion it is mentioned, the Imam or one great alim of Makkah Sharif, Qasim bin Ahmad rahimahullah. So he used to travel very often with Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. So one day the thought also came to his mind that how is it that Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi has gone so far? He also reads namaz, we also are reading namaz. And he fasts, we also fast. He makes jihad, we also go out in jihad. He performs hajj, we also perform hajj. So what's the difference? So one day he was traveling with Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi. They were going to Syria. They stopped at a particular place. It was a time of supper. So they spent the night over there. And when they sat down to eat, the lantern that was lit, that lantern was extinguished. So when it was extinguished, now they're waiting for somebody to light the lantern again. So one person came and he lit the lantern. Now in that time, perhaps a few minutes, whatever it must have been, the lantern was lit. Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah started crying. When the light came on, Qasim bin Ahmad looked at the face of Abdullah bin Mubarak. full of tears. He said, this man, his mind has gone somewhere else. Where did his mind go? To the qabr. That tomorrow we're going to leave the world. Today we can't, this load shedding, few minutes, what happens to us? Now in Tonga, Allah make it easy, alhamdulillah, now water has just come. Approximately 50 days they didn't have water. How difficult. But in your qabr, your best plumber, he can't put water for himself also. And best electrician can't put light for himself also in the qabr. So his mind immediately went to the qabr. It is mentioned one day he was in Syria. And whilst he was in Syria, he borrowed one person's pen. And today we regard these things as trivial things. Myself also, it's lesson for me to take and for all of us. That he borrowed a pen from somebody. And he forgot to return the pen. So he put that pen in his pocket and he came to Marwa. Now this is hundreds of miles away from Syria all the way to Marwa. And we're not talking of a time where we had aeroplanes and we had fast cars. We're talking of the time where people used to walk and people used to ride on animals. When he came to Marwa, he said, oh, I brought this pen all the way from Syria. What he did? Immediately there and there, he undertook a journey, went back to Syria, hundreds of miles. And perhaps what we will say, in today's time, 2 rand pen, 3 rand pen. He went back and he returned the pen. When he returned the pen, he took a deep sigh. He said, that now that amanat that I have returned it. And then Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi said, if you have 1 dirham, 1 silver coin, 1 dirham that is doubtful, he says it is better to return that 1 dirham to its owner than giving 100,000 dirhams in charity. Today the world is the opposite. Today so much of charity is given, but the rights of people and the hukuk of people are not fulfilled. So he said 1 dirham that is doubtful. He didn't say haram. He said 1 dirham that is doubtful. He said it is better to return it to its owner than giving 100,000 dirhams in charity. Allah Ta'ala give us these lessons in our life. Allah Ta'ala blessed him so greatly. It comes in a hadith, by yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fi deen. That person, Allah intends good for him. Allah gives him the understanding of deen. In that, Allah Ta'ala is intended good for that person. Because if you don't have the understanding of deen, a person, he cannot make amal on deen. We'll just take one example of it that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentions. He said, Inni la aqumu ila salah, that I stand up for namaz. Wa uridu an utawwila fiha, but I want to read a long namaz. I want to prolong that namaz. That was the time of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Can you imagine, behind Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, Sahaba wouldn't want namaz to come to an end. So I want to read a lengthy namaz. فَأَسْمَعُ بُكَاءَ السَّبِي, I hear the little children crying. Because that was a time where it was a time where wahi would come down. So sometime there was a certain law, and then that law would be abrogated, and we got another law. So the laws were changing all the time. So that's why women were permitted to come to the masjid, because what is the new law, they must also be made aware of it. So they would come with their children. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that I would hear the children that are crying. He says that فَأَتَجَوَّزُ فِي صَلَاتِي, I cut down my salah. I want to read a long namaz, but I cut down my salah. كَرَاهِيَةَ أَنْ أَشُقَّ عَلَىٰ أُمِّي, that disliking, that I cause inconvenience to the mother. See, when you have the understanding of deen, now where does the mind of a person go? 2 people are walking in the jungle. So as they are walking, they come to a river. So one person is reading Quran Sharif, and the other person, he jumps in the river. So when he jumps in the river, he realizes this is a very, very deep river, and I can lose my life over here. Somehow he manages to save his life, and he swims and he comes out. When he comes out, the other person is reading Quran Sharif. So he tells the other person that, see, you know this route. You know the river also. When I jumped into the river, why didn't you tell me it's such a deep river? My life, I almost lost my life. So he carries on with Quran Sharif, and when he stops, then he blows on his body. And then what does he tell that person? He tells his friend, he says, I was reading Quran Sharif. That's why I didn't tell you. So I give importance to Quran Sharif. Whereas at that time, what is obligatory? Even if a person is in namaz, somebody is falling into the well, you must break your namaz. Go and save the life of that person. Here there's a river, he's going into the river, his life is in danger. Stop your Quran Sharif. After that you carry on with your Quran Sharif. So we need understanding of deen also. Just superficial knowledge of deen, that is not sufficient. Understanding of deen is very, very important. So Allah blessed him with this. And I'll terminate, my time is already up. That Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi with all this. What a generous person. Allah gave him such a heart. Like his father, how he spent on him, how Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi also spent. One day he was going for Hajj. As he was proceeding for Hajj, he seen that there was one girl, she was picking up something from the dirt. So he couldn't see from far, but when he came close, he saw that there was a dead bird. She picked the dead bird up and she wrapped it up in a little piece of cloth and she was going. So he told her, what are you doing? So she said that the oppressors, they killed my father. All our properties, all our wealth, everything they took it away from us. We have absolutely nothing. It's only me and my one brother. My brother is so sick, he cannot even get up and he can't even come here also. My brother is in bed. So She said that we got no food whatsoever. This dead bird that is here, this is a bounty, this is a ni'mat of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala for us. So Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi alayhi, he asked the person that was with him, that was his treasurer. He said that how much money do we have? They were going for Hajj. So he said, we have 1,000 gold coins, 1,000 dinars. A dinar is approximately the quarter ounce Kruger coin that we get. That is approximately the price of a dinar. So he said, I got 1,000 gold coins. So he said that how much do we need to go back to Marwa? So the treasurer said, we need about 20 dinars to get back to Marwa. So he said, keep 20 dinars and the remainder that we have, give it all to this girl. So all that money was then given to this girl. And he said, this Hajj is far superior than going to Makkah Sharif and performing Hajj in Makkah Sharif. And then when they gave that money, that girl was so happy, she ran away, she ran home. But they immediately started returning home. And then he tells the treasurer, he says, Allah has accepted our Hajj. Our Hajj has been accepted. Today also, mashallah, we go for Umrah, we go for Hajj, no problem. But remember, there are thousands of people that are suffering out there. There are thousands that are picking up food from the bins. We see this on a daily basis. People are opening bins. You leave a bin bag on the street for the municipal workers to pick it up. When you come out, all the dirt is on the floor. There is no food. Give attention to them also. Rather give preference to them. We don't know whose heart the dua will come out. And when that dua comes out, our akhirat will be made. Not only that Abdullah Mubarak rahmatullah didn't go for Umrah, he took people for Hajj also. It is mentioned every year, Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullah used to take many people for Hajj. And when they used to join him, when they used to all be together, he used to tell them, all your money, put it into a bag. Every person would have a separate bag, and that bag, he would put it away. And then he'll say, come, let's go. While they're going for Hajj, he will spend on them. Accommodation, he will pay. Food, he will pay. And on one occasion, 2 camels full of chickens that were on it. All for the Hujjaj. He bought for the Hujjaj. And in this way, he used to take them for Hajj. After Hajj, he would pay for everything. He'd take them to Medina Sharif. He'll say, do shopping now, because we must spend on the people of Medina Sharif. So he'll say that, do shopping now. Buy whatever you want in Medina Sharif. They would buy whatever they want in Medina Sharif. After buying whatever they want, now they would come back home. When they would come back home, he used to have a big da'wat. All those that went for Hajj with me, come eat with me now. Everybody would eat with Abdullah bin Mubarak. He'll say, bring those bags. Each one, whatever money they had put in, exactly that amount, he would take that bag out and he will return it. They'll say, oh, Abdullah bin Mubarak, that you never told us that you're going to be spending your own money. He said, if I told you, you wouldn't have eaten food nicely. If I told you, you wouldn't have done shopping nicely. So therefore, I didn't inform you of all this. A person that shows this kindness to the makhluk of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, he becomes the beloved of Allah Ta'ala. In no time, that dua that comes out, it will take you within seconds for Allah Ta'ala, a person will become the beloved of Allah. There's so much more. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq of making amal. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.